know if this is a concern about the culture that he lives in. In verses 5 and 6, he says, every word of God proves true. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found a liar. On one hand, he might have been concerned about the threat of truth being compromised within, but the previous verses may suggest that his concern was that there were those around him who added to the word of God, mishandled the word of God for their own agenda. And he didn't want God to just ultimately remove them. He wanted God to immediately rebuke them by removing them far from his life. This is a man that recognizes his weakness either way and prays that God would grant him a greater devotion to the truth of God. Remove far from me falsehood and lying. And this is the first step to being a godly man. It is a commitment to the truth of God. It is a mind that is shaped by the word of God, not the lies and falsehood of the culture that we live in. But not only do we see the spiritual power of a godly man expressed in this prayer, where the writer asks for a greater devotion to the truth of God, he asks for greater dependence upon the God of truth. He says, not only do I need you to remove from me falsehood and lying, but he says, give me neither poverty nor riches. Bet you don't hear that prayer often. Don't let me be rich, don't let me be poor. He expresses what he means by that in the next phrase. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Just feed me with the food that is needful for me. Don't let me be rich. Don't let me be poor. Just give me my daily bread. This is the heart of this. Not only, Lord, do I need you to help me to be devoted to the truth of your word, but I need you to give me a dependence upon the God of truth. Don't let me be poor. Don't let me be rich. He is saying, teach me to live contingently upon you, Lord. Help me so that I never get to a place where I forget I need you. In that 9th verse, he says, I don't want to be rich because I may get full and start asking, who is the Lord? Then I don't want to be poor because I may start hustling, he says. Doing what I have to do, and in so doing, profane the name of my God, giving the indication that I'm stealing because my God cannot be trusted. So Lord, just keep me from riches, keep me from poverty, keep me in a posture in life where I never forget that I need you. May the Lord help us to be men like Agur. Men who have devotion to the truth of God. We are not squeezed into this world's way of thinking, but are transformed by the renewing of our minds. Who allow the word of God to be the lamp and light for our feet and pathway. Who are devoted to the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ and the gospel of the kingdom. And then spiritual power comes not in our own strength. Paul reminds us of that in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, that real strength comes when we acknowledge our weakness, because it is then that we experience the faithfulness of God, who says, my grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is perfected in your weakness. The spiritual power of a godly man is only experienced when you recognize how weak you are without God. May God raise up a strong army of men in our generation, in our homes, in our churches, in our culture, who first of all are devoted to the truth of God as given to us in His Word. And men who are dependent upon the God of truth, not the things of this world, that so easily pass away. But the eternal God, who is good and wise and faithful. And may God allow us to be the light of the world and the salt of the earth, influencing this generation, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and for the glory of God. Thank you.